Rene here, and we're going through and we're checking out these different pencils that I got for my anniversary. This one I purchased to review. It's the Art and Fly premium oil-based colored pencils. It comes in a 72 set. The pencils themselves are a nice thick pencil. They're named and numbered, as well as has the color on the end here. They're very smooth. They're very form-fitting to your hand. So, you know, you're not dealing with a thin pencil. For example, this pencil and this pencil are different sizes. This one is a little bit smaller than this one. Let's see. I don't have any of my thinner pencils out other than those ones, but they're not as thick as a Faber-Castell or an Arteza, but it is thicker than, say, a Crayola, or Castle Arts is a little bit thin too. So these are a little bit thicker than those. They have the color chart on the top of the lid here. And I was going through the colors and the color chart, and there's certain ones in here that I would not, I'm going to get rid of that light for you. There you go. That I would not expect to be the colors that they're showing, like indigo, for example. They're showing it as a purple. Not the indigo I know. So I'm wondering if maybe their production line sort of skipped and the blues ended up where the purple should be, and the purples it just got slid down. So I don't know. A little bit strange. Same with over on this side. The mint is a bit more yellow than you would expect a mint to be. So we'll give them a swatch and find out. There is not an actual black, quote unquote, named pencil. It's actually charcoal named, but it is black. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to give these a good swatch. It'll be a quick swatch video. So of course, you know, grab your coffee and sit back and relax. And when we come back from the swatch, we'll take a look at the colors, take a look at the ones that I'm concerned about and whether or not they're the right color for the name. And we'll go from there. All right, I will be right back. Okay, so that didn't take long at all. So we've swatched these out. They go down really, really nice. They're a nice soft pencil. Of course, the Art and Fly colored pencils are an oil-based pencil. The binding in them is oil-based, and they are an artist grade pencil. They do say that they're light fast. However, I didn't see any information on the tin about what their light fast ratings are, so I cannot guarantee the light fast of them. Now, the pencils that I mentioned before that I was a little bit concerned about with the coloring, I'm just going to switch you over to the other camera here and turn on the light for you so you can see what I'm talking about. The indigo is very purple. And so is this one. This one is almost a grape purple. And then Prussian blue. Let's see if I have another swatch in here that has Prussian blue in it. Because Prussian blue to me is usually a brighter, yeah, see this one here is Prussian blue. It's a brighter blue coloring than this Prussian blue. This Prussian blue is more indigo to me. So I'm wondering if maybe things got shifted over a set. So I'm not quite sure. Same with the Egyptian blue. Let's see, do I have Egyptian blue in this one? No. What about this one? Of course not. And this one? So of course, Egyptian blue is very not in any of the pencils I've swatched in this book yet, but it's usually a bit brighter as well. More like this sapphire blue kind of brightness. Another thing that I noticed is the naming of these greens. There is no grass green and there is no leaf green. There is a forest green and a fern green, but this mint looks lime to me, or, you know, it is way too yellow to be a mint. The one thing that I also noticed that I don't like is they've got all the yellows here, and it's a good selection of yellows. I was quite satisfied with this selection of yellows. I'm going to switch you back over to the other camera so you can see the full view. I was happy with this selection of yellows. I wanted a couple more light yellows and that sort of thing. Well, as we got further in, there's our light yellows. So we've got a morning light, pale marigold, and a Tuscan sun. And I think I understand the reasoning by putting them here is they are complementary to the skin tones that they have here. Of course, they're very safe in not saying skin tones, but they've got the salmon, melon, sunset, sandstone, and carrot all in this area here with those light yellows. So I think this area here, they intentionally put them here to go as a skin tone, but it doesn't say anything about skin tones on them. And like I said, they don't have a black. They do call it charcoal. And even in their 48 set, they call it charcoal. They don't call it black. Does not have any light grays, like a pale cool gray or a pale warm gray, and it does not have any metallics. However, in the 48 set, they do have a gold and a silver. With that being said, I did watch Donna's video on the Art and Fly markers, and there's no comparing them to each other. The Art and Fly markers that she reviewed don't have any names on them. They're just numbered. So I can't really tell between the two of them without putting them side by side on my own desk on whether or not the colors are the same or the numbering. The numbering is definitely not the same whatsoever. But I don't know if the colors match at all without putting them on my own sheets and putting them side by side. But all in all, for a colored pencil and a budget friendly, these are very, very budget friendly. A 72 set of these is only $28.97 on Amazon. They say they're light fast. Like I said, I did not see any light fast ratings anywhere on their tin or on their website, but they go down very smoothly. As you can tell with the heavier coatings, they don't need any blending. So the more coats you put on and the heavier you put on it, it's going to be a very smooth color. They have a huge range of different greens, blues, orange into the yellow. They don't have a lot of true red colors. They have true red and that sort of thing, but usually with some sets, of course, with the bigger sets, you're going to get a lot more reds. But they've got true red and they've got crimson. They've got a couple of dark reds and a couple of orangey reds. So in a small set like this, that's to be expected. They do have quite the range of purples and pinks. I did find that this magenta and raspberry are very, 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 very close together. I think the raspberry is a bit darker than the magenta though, but they are very similar in color. But those were the only two that I found that were very close in color. Even the yellows have enough of a variation that you can actually really see it. Marigold and Tuscan Sun are pretty close too, but Marigold is a little bit lighter. But I would definitely recommend them as a budget-friendly pencil. So if you do find that you want to utilize a nice set of 72 colored pencils that are easy to pack up and go, I would definitely choose this set. I just noticed that the coloring I did last night stained my fingers. And I've washed my hands over and over again. I was hoping that wouldn't have stained, but it did. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to give a bit of a color. And we're going to actually use the one that we used yesterday in the Shuttle Arts book. We're just going to color a nice little owl so that we can compare them with the set that we colored yesterday, which of course is the Brunswiels. So let's take a little look here. Pretty sure it was the Brunswiels. Yes. So which one should we do? I think we'll do this one. So this is B, and this is A. So we're just going to take, let's see here. And as I said before, they have a number, a name, and a color on the end. The ones that I have mentioned that are off-colored, definitely swatch them because you're going to find that some of the colors don't match the end, like indigo, for example. The indigo end looks very blue. So it's not going to match the color that comes out because the color that comes out is quite purpley color. Now we're just going to quickly do a little color here and show you what these can do. I am not pressing very hard at all. And I have not sharpened these since I got them. So after doing the swatch and everything else, the cores are still quite usable. They're not pinpoint sharp, but they're not completely dulled out either. I am going to sharpen a couple of them and take a look and see how they sharpen. Make sure that we're not going to end up with nasty wood or that sort of thing. And this one's getting pretty close to needing it, so I'll do this one here in a minute because I want to get some color on the page here for you. I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. There we go. So far this week it's been nice and warm and sunny. Hopefully it stays that way for a bit. You know, it's one thing I really like the sun and I really want it to stay sunny and warm and whatnot. But I also want it to rain like nobody's tomorrow because the fires are still burning here and we're supposed to get some really warm temperatures this week and some wind. So hopefully it won't move those fires any closer. And won't restart them in any of the areas that have already burned either, because the devastation is just phenomenal. I was given a video of a family member's home and it just shocked me. So hopefully that doesn't become a normal everyday thing here with these fires. Hopefully they get them under control and out as quickly as possible here and in California and in Washington, because they are going everywhere. I'm going to sharpen this because it is starting to get quite dull. So let's see how these sharpen. Well, good hard wood on there too. So they sharpen quite nicely. The wood is pretty even in the sharpen all the way around the barrel. So that tells me that they're pretty well centered. The one thing that I always worry about with these types of pencils that have the cap on the end with the paint all the way over top at the end is you can't look at the bottom and tell if they're centered. You know, if you could look at the bottom and say, okay, that's not centered, you can accommodate that depending upon how badly uncentered they are. However, when you can't see it, you can't really accommodate for it. Okay, so let's see how well these blend. So I've got a light brown down and I'm going to move this tray out of the way, put it over there. And I'm going to take the chocolate brown, where is it? There it is. And I'm just going to go around it and give it that little bit of darkness. I've got to sharpen the chocolate brown too because I need that sharp point. These are really small pictures, so it's so much easier when you've got a good sharp point. Okay, and it also sharpened quite nicely. There's no cracking, no breakage, which is good too. So I'm going to see how well these blend together. I'm just going to bring that dark out a bit. So they don't seem to reject each other, which is good. Sometimes when you lay a different color on top, it just sits on top instead of blending in with the other color, and these seem to be blending in quite nicely. So okay. So I hope you all have been enjoying the swatch videos, as well as the reviews of all these wonderful things that came in last week. I'm going to have another bunch of reviews and stuff like that to show you next week too, because I got a bunch of stuff coming in this week too. Now, of course, what I have coming in this week is mostly books, because in our sip and chat on Friday last week, somebody showed me a bunch of books that enabled me to buy an entire whack of them, and they are just so cute. Thanks, Deb. I can't resist a really good book. Well, I can, as long as, but I can't resist a really good artist. That's what I should say. And these look to be very nicely drawn, and they're so adorable. So we will see how they turn out. And of course, I will review that and review them with you and do a quick little flip through and enable the rest of you. And of course, on this coming Saturday, we're also going to be having a surprise, so that will be cool. In my Saturday color along, it will be a little bit different than our normal weekly color alongs, that's for sure. Okay. So far it has blended quite well with the other color, so I don't think I'm even going to need to use a blender pencil on it, which is really good. Because usually I use the blender pencil to mix the colors together, get rid of any harsh lines, but it doesn't seem to need it. And of course, to get rid of any white spot, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of white spots, so that is good as well. Okay, so now we're going to use, I think, carrot orange. I'm just going to do the tips of his feathers here. And we'll see how things blend into the orange. Of course, like I said before, we're not going to color these realistic because I want to see how the colors work together. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to take this nice bright yellow, and we will see how those blend together. I'm going to switch you over to the other camera here. There you go. That'll give you a better view of what I'm doing. Now I am pressing quite hard on this yellow because I want a really vibrant yellow color. And as you can see, even with pressing quite hard, I'm not breaking the pencil. So the cores of these are quite solid, which is wonderful. Nothing better than a good solid core. Sometimes I get really heavy-handed, especially if I'm irritated when I'm trying to color, or if I'm just having a really bad day and I just want to scribble color. I don't know if anybody else does that, but sometimes I get agitated, really, really agitated, and I find that just grabbing a handful of pencils or a handful of pens and a blank piece of paper and just scribbling, just plain outright hard scribbling, gets rid of that I hate everybody kind of day. Which, sometimes is fun to do. And of course I went over that edge, so I'm going to have to do that now. Because, yeah, I don't know how to color in the lines, obviously. Now, I'm not calling out the numbers because I'm not really wanting y'all to color along, just showing you different colors that are available. This one here is paprika. So it's a orangey type of red. It's not quite red orange, but it's not quite all the way red either, if that makes sense. All right, let's see what color is this one. This one is the raspberry, and we're going to sharpen it. And like I said, the raspberry and the magenta are very, very, very close together. This does seem to be a bit darker than the magenta was. So we're just going to use it for outline here and shadow areas. And of course, you know, since this isn't really a realistic kind of owl, you don't really need to put the shadow areas in, but I catch myself all the time trying to make things that are just doodly as realistic as possible. And I have had to force myself into coloring things with a little bit more whimsy, like coloring an owl's wings purple. Which is what we're going to do here. So, and that to me is out of my comfort zone, but it's starting to get more and more into my comfort zone. So I kind of like that. I'm starting to broaden my horizons, if that makes sense. Get more of an artistic look of things instead of just a realist look, which is hard sometimes. But I have found that with all that is going on in the world right now, having an artist look at things makes things a lot more rosy. I'm so tired of all the conundrum that the world is in right now. Tired of all the anger and anxiety, and so I just color, and I'm finding that coloring things like purple owl wings makes it just a little bit better for the day. Now we're going to take the lilac and we're going to color everything in the areas that I've added that purpley color. Of course, I had to sharpen it because it was dull. And I'm just trying to get as many of the different colors and the different color families on here as possible without taking all day doing it. Because I could, you know, I could end up coloring this one little picture all day long if I if I overthought it. And I do that sometimes. I overthink things, and I am my worst enemy, my worst critic. So if I don't like something, I'll look it over and look it over and look it over, and I'll overwork it and then it'll look worse and worse and worse to me. Where if I would have just left it alone, it would have been much better. Okay. Just getting this part all cleared up here. And of course, for some reason, my dog is having a whining fit of some sort, trying to get into the children's bedroom. And I don't know why. So after I'm done with this video, I will have to check and see what's going on. Sometimes she does that when she's not able to get into our bedroom. She'll whine at the kids to let her in. And she just wants to go have a nap. But I don't let her in my bedroom without us being in there because she gets up in the bed and leaves big piles of fur because she's shedding again. That's the thing about this weather, is it goes cold and she starts getting a heavier coat, and then it gets really hot again, and then her body decides, oh, I don't need all this fur. We're just going to drop it right here and anywhere else that she could possibly drop it. All right, now let's use some blues. Let's see, what's this one? I think we're going to go with the lapis blue. I think it's this one. Yeah. And of course it is dull, so we're going to sharpen it. And we're just going to do these little lines. This lapis blue. Okay. Now I am trying to do this as quickly as possible because I do know it's starting to get late in the video, and I know how irritating it can be when you're watching a video and it just goes on and on and on. Now this is the turquoise, and I'm just going to sharpen this up because these are very, very tiny little areas. And my dull little pencil wasn't getting into the corners here. They are very pretty colors. You know, even with the oddities in the naming, I find that the colors are really nice, and they just lay down. There's no balling up of the wax, or, you know, sometimes you can color with a pencil and it just looks like you haven't laid anything down, or it looks like you've used a crayon. Which, you know, I'm not saying coloring with a crayon is a bad thing. I've done it before and gotten beautiful results. But you don't want your pencil crayons, your colored pencils. I always call them pencil crayons because that's what I was taught to call them. But you don't want them looking like a wax crayon. especially not when you've paid $30 or $40 for them. And when you've paid hundreds of dollars for them, you want them to look like a wax crayon even less. And I have had sets that I ended up sending back that were not inexpensive. And they weren't overly expensive, but they were definitely not cheap. And that's exactly how they laid down. They just laid down like a wax crayon, and it was like horrible. Okay, so we've got that color down, and we're going to do 2 more colors just on the diamonds there, just to show the different variations that are available. And we're going to use a fern green and emerald green. So we're going to color the outside in the emerald green, which is a dark green. And this wouldn't be my idea of emerald green either. Emerald green is more of a, it's a brighter green. In my brain, with the other color pencils that I've used, it's usually a brighter green than this. And every colored pencil set has their own way of labeling things, has their own way of naming things. And I really do wish that somebody would send out a universal chart where it just tells you every different colored pencil and what it could possibly be. But it would be a horrible, horrible undertaking. It would take forever, especially with all the new colored pencil sets and all the new marker sets and everything else that have come out. It's definitely not something that would be easy to do. And this is that lighter green. Like these two here almost remind me of olive greens. And that's that. The one good thing I do like about them is they are numbered and in color order. So if you are doing a picture and you are using your tin, they're very simple to put back and very simple to find. So if you're just, once you get the understanding that the lighter yellows are not with the yellows, that they're further up in the tin, it becomes very simple to get used to that. And it's simple to put them all back where they belong because all you got to do is look at the numbers. So that's our coloring with the Art and Fly premium 72 count premium oil pencils. They are very smooth. They are very correct there. They are pretty vibrant. The colors of these are very, very bright, and they are easy to blend. So they're telling the truth on their advertising on their box. Like I said, on their website, which is the www.artandfly.com, they do have a lot more information about their oil-based pencils. However, the one odd thing that I have found on their website is the 72 count set is not on their website. They only seem to be available on Amazon. So I don't know why that is. If they just rolled it out recently and put it up on Amazon, not sure. Now, between the Bronzeal and the Art Fly, let's see, there's some yellows and some purples. So those two are a good combination, a good show of the differences in colors. I find these ones a little bit brighter than these ones, but I used a different grays and browns in that. So the yellows and greens in the Bronzeals are brighter than the yellows and greens in the Art Fly. And if I was doing a true comparison, of course, I would have to pull the exact same colors and put them up against each other. And one of these days when I do a comparison of all of the colored pencils I have, I will take the expensive ones and compare them to the expensive ones, the inexpensive ones and compare them to the inexpensive ones. And we'll go down the line that way at some point. But until then, I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Art and Fly premium oil-based colored pencils. I'm just going to switch over so you can see the whole box. The box is beautiful. The picture on the box is beautiful. They are numbered and in order of their numbers. They do have the wonderful color chart already there. You're not going to lose that unless you take them out of the package. With that being said, I do find that some of the colors have a discrepancy in what color they are. There are colors that I wouldn't think would be under those names. I'm not sure if that's normal for the Art and Fly pencils. But like I said, everybody has their own way of own mixtures in their leads and their own colors and that sort of thing. So it may just be that situation there. I would definitely say if you want a good set of 72 oil-based colored pencils, to try the oil-based set, to try the oil-based pencils. This would be a great set to start with, absolutely. And for the price of them, it is definitely a good set. Like I said, on Amazon, they are only $28.97 for this set. And of course, there are other ones that you can get there a bit cheaper. The 48 pencil set of the Art and Fly is only $18.97. So definitely give them a shot and see how they do and see what you think of them. With that, I thank you so much for joining me. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Make sure that you get all of the notifications for my video.